100 years ago in Europe, someone died in a trench, shot by a ball bearing somewhere. That person is my brother. 50 years ago, someone died in Vietnam, in the Battle of Long Tan. That person is my brother. Somewhere along the line, in every conflict, someone has died, male or female. Those people are my family. Every veteran here today, my family. But I am also reminded of a story that happened to me. After my injuries in Iraq in 2008, I came back to Australia and began my recovery. I was preparing to enter the world of civilian life a few years after that, and I moved to Melbourne to do some studying. This was Defence's way of saying thank you, and I thank them for that. The opportunities they've afforded me have been immense. But I do not live in Melbourne, nor have I ever lived there before that. I have no friends there, and I had no support network there. So I went to a local RSL, and by the way, this story has no reflection of my opinion on RSLs. I think they're great. But I went to the local RSL and sought to build myself a support network. Upon my entry to the RSL itself, I was stopped and you could say questioned or you could say interrogated. The person who interrogated me was somewhat older than myself, and his words won't ever leave me, nor will they ever leave any veteran who is a veteran of contemporary services that has been told this, and there are many. You are too young to be a veteran. And I don't know if you're aware, but blind people can't serve in the army. This happens far too often in this current world, in this changing world. The contemporary veteran is no different to any other veteran. And to prove this, before I came up with this little chat, I did some reading through the journals at the War Memorial. And I took a page out of the day of someone's life in the Western Front. This soldier woke up, having hardly any sleep the night before because of sporadic firing constantly through the night. He put his boots on and he made himself a coffee, but he only had one cup and there were 4 other people, so he shared. They'd lost a mate during the night, but they had no time to mourn them. They shared a cigarette with each other and made light of their situation and themselves. This is the Australian spirit. This is the Anzac legend. That's what they're known for. That's what we're all known for. It gets us through the day. Stand to was called, and he went to his position and stared into nothing until the sun came up, and then fighting began. In his journal, he writes that from this point, he was not aware of whether or not he would make it through the night. Obviously, him writing it means that he did, but there were no other pages. So I can only hope that he lost his pen, but the truth is he probably didn't make it. Fast forward 90 odd years or 100 years into the future, and you've got people serving in Afghanistan. I had many friends that served there, and I asked them what their typical day was. A soldier wakes up having hardly any sleep because their position was being fired upon in the night with machine gun fire. They're not sleeping in trenches, they're sleeping in bombed out buildings. Evidence of the fire during the night is right there meters from the bed where rounds are embedded in the wall. Shards of brick lay strewn all over the ground. He gets up and throws his boots on, throws his body armour on. He doesn't have a hot coffee or a hot meal. Heat is a luxury they do not have because they need water and they need food, but not heat. Cold instant coffee dissolves in cold water just the same as it does in hot. And he shares that with his mates and some cigarettes, and they make light of their situation and themselves because that's what they do to get through the day. Stand to is called, and he gets behind the gun and sits and stares into nothing, hoping that he won't see anything, but sometimes they do. That person did return home. That person is one of my closest friends. But that person's experience overseas, serving Australia, is no different to any other soldier's experience from any other war. And it's days like today and services next week or the week after for Anzac Day in 10 years ago or in 10 years' time, they'll be the same. There'll still be veterans who are young and there'll still be veterans that are old. But they are brothers by choice. And that is the Anzac legend. Thank you.